Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to continue the refactoring from the previous episode to use some best practices for Riverpod and also do some cleanup. So let's get started. So if I go to home screen, we can do some cleanup here, which is basically like, now since we are not using app database here, we can just check like if we are using it here. So if we go to our home test, since we are replacing it with this fake app database, we don't need this app database anymore. So what we'll do is we'll just remove this, and since it doesn't have any dependency, we can make it as a const here, which will give a benefit of reusing this widget, and we'll just have a key here. Now if we go to our test, now our test is broken because the app database is not there anymore. So what I'll do is I'll just select all the occurrences and just remove it. There's still some there, so I'll just select those as well and remove it. Now I have removed app database instance from all the home screen. Let's just rerun this test. So now all the tests are passing. So we did a home screen cleanup here. Now if we see on the home screen, we can replace it with a const. So now we did a little optimization on a home screen. So it will use just one instance. It won't create every time when material app has been rebuilt. Now what else we can do better on the home screen? So here we are using a ref to read the provider. But if you go to the official documentation where it says using ref to interact with provider, it says that whenever possible, prefer using ref.watch or ref.read or ref.listen to implement a feature. By relying on ref.watch, your application becomes both reactive and declarative, which makes it more maintainable. Basically, the read operation is a one-time read, but if you use watch, whenever changes happen in your dependency, it will be automatically rebuilt on the widget. So we want to replace our ref.read to ref.watch, and the ref.watch is recommended to be used in your build method. So if we go here, we have this build method, and what we can do is we can basically use our database here, and what we'll do is with .ref instead of read, we'll do a watch on our app data provider. Now we got this instance, but how do we use across our whole app? So one thing is, in order to understand where this has been used, what I usually do is I just commit it out so that I can find where it has been used. So it's being used in 3 places here: update task, update by project. So now what we can do is instead of getting this from a getter, we can pass that instance here. So I'll just use the database here, and I'll just copy the same here and do the same thing here. Now that is being done, but now it's failing on different places because we need that parameter. So if we go into build, we can directly pass this database from here. So passing all that in all that places where it required, and I'll just click F2 to go to the next error. So here we don't have the database access here, so we need to pass that from build pop-up menu. So I'll see where is being this called, and it's been called here, so we can pass the database here. I'll just add as a required parameter and then pass the database here. So now this become more reactive because we are using the app database instead coming from watch, but there's still one error left. So if we go to the update task here, we see that it required the app database. But since we are on init state, it is not recommended to use watch here because this is just called one time when your widget has been initialized. So what we can do here is, instead of using watch, we can use the read widget here because it will be just one time thing. And after that on build, it will be reactive because now we have used watch. So whenever changes happen, it will automatically rebuild this widget. So I'll just do a ref.read and our app database provider. Now just to make sure that everything is working expected, I'll just go here one more time and I'll just run Flutter test here. So now all the tests is passed and we did the cleanup as well. So we are majority of our code base is migrated to Riverpod. So I'll just remove this here, and just to make sure that it works end to end, I'll just run this application in the emulator. So let's run this our application to see if it should work end to end. If we come across here, don't see any task in the inbox. We see the old task we have, which we created a few days back. If I come here, let's say test, and I select a project which is using inbox priority 2, and then click, I get the test on the home screen. So now we have migrated to Riverpod, and all the other screens are working as expected because we have not migrated those screens. They are still using the old state manage set state solution. Just to conclude, first thing, when you choose a state management solution, go through the official documentation before you go through any blogs or videos. And if you feel anything that you are not understanding it, then go for a blogs and videos. And start small, doing the smallest step as possible. For example, we started with the small step of setting up our provider and not using it anywhere, and then we run the test. Then we use the instant from a read, then we run the test and verified it. We clean up some test and some variable which are not required, and then we did a cleanup on a home screen where the recommended way of using the Riverpod using the watch. So this is how you are supposed to do a step-by-step refactoring. So for now we are able to do the refactoring for the home screen. Now if we want to do for other screen, we'll do the same thing which we have did from the beginning. We'll write a test for that screen, try to cover 80 or 90% of code coverage, and then we'll try to migrate it to a Riverpod, and then we'll run the test, and just in the end we'll run the app and then see if everything works as expected. Following this strategy, we'll have a lesser risk of breaking things compared to not having tested at all and not following any strategy for refactoring. And if you have noticed one thing, that while we were migrating from a set state to Riverpod, we just run this app once. All the other things were verified by tests, so we didn't run the emulator at all. So this is the benefit of having a lot of tests, so that you don't need to run the whole UI suite in order to make sure everything is working as expected. You make sure that everything is working under your test condition, and once you are satisfied with that, then you just run into emulator to do a sanity check. So by going this approach, I personally started to use emulator as much as possible. I only use emulator when I directly want to leverage the hot reload feature, where basically I'm changing the UI and matching it on the screen. Apart from that, most of the business logic and state management is basically I try to do through test. So yeah, that's it for this video. Also, this is the final episode of this series, and in the next video I'll just conclude and summarize the whole series, and will share my plans for upcoming videos. So stay tuned, and thank you. So if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.